If you struggle to get clients as a designer or animator, niching down can help you to be seen as an expert, which can help you to attract more clients. I spoke with one of my accelerator students, Giuseppe Forestieri, about how he niched down his animation studio to help organizations with nature conservation. If you've ever asked the question, should I niche down as a designer, or how do I find my ideal client or niche, then continue to watch this video. But before we jump into this video, did you know that we have a podcast with over 100 episodes? If you need more Motion Hatch in your ears, we'll put the link below this video in the description. We'll also include Giuseppe's full interview on the podcast, so make sure you go and give it a listen. Hey Giuseppe, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi Haley, thank you for inviting me.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about your background and what you do?
Yeah, definitely. So I have a background in visual communication. In particular, I'm specialized in illustration and animation. We as a studio are specialized in niching down in nature conservation and animal welfare. So we basically combined our passion for nature and animals with our passion for creativity.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a really good mission. What made you choose that as a niche?
Over the years, I when I was working as a full-time employed in the studios, like I was producing general animations, and at some point although I was happy regarding the work I was doing, I felt that something was missing. I wanted something that fulfilled me as a person, besides as a professional, as an animator. So I had to dig into my childhood, my passions, and trying to find give meaning to what I was doing as an animator, as a studio. And so I wanted to combine, for example, I'm a lover of outdoor sports like snowboarding, kite surfing. I grew up in a farm in Italy. So I kind of loved that in a way that even though it was part of me, it wasn't entirely, because I wanted to make it my work, giving the reason why I wake up in the morning happy to do my job.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel like that. And I think one of the struggles is obviously I hear from a lot of designers and animators that they want to do something around, maybe sustainability or environmental causes and things like that, which I think is incredible. We've talked a lot about it before. But I think what's interesting about the niche that you chose is because you went a little bit deeper than that. Do you think that's helped you to get a bit more clear about who your clients are?
Yeah, definitely. I strongly believe that niching down, I don't think that everybody should niche down, but in my case, it did work because I wanted to help organizations. I wanted to help universities promoting their research, their reports, in a different way. These communities, this sector, generally use some traditional way of communicating their stories, promote their research. So through my character animation full of colors, I help them to engage the audience, engage people in a different way. And to be honest, with the organization I work with, they loved the way I engage the audience with my stories through visuals. So definitely, for me, it helped me to nail down and to focus on something I care about. And therefore, my clients see that throughout my work.
So you're talking about how the universities felt like they obviously had an issue of getting their research out there. Is that something that you actively thought about before you kind of went after these clients, is how to target them and maybe what problems they had that you could solve through animation?
Yeah, this is a really good question because, if you want to serve a community, it's our job not just to create the content itself, but to dig into their communities, find out where they talk about the issues, communicate them, engage them on social media, and ask questions. Because unless you know what the issues are, what the problem they want to solve. I say problem because in our design community, we tend always to find a problem to solve, And so if you want to really engage, if you want to really help them, you need to find out what they need and speaking to them, going to like networking meetings where they talk about the issues. It's always valuable if you want to help your niche to overcome the issues and help them to basically try to enhance the level of their communication.
Yeah, that makes sense. So do you actively go to events and stuff like that? Is that the main way you're finding clients in this niche, or is there some other ways as well?
Yeah, looking at the recent past period, I would say that I started again after the pandemic. As you know, we've been 2 years locked down home, so it was tricky to networking. So I attended quite a few online networking events. While in the past I was just going like in general networking event, now I'm really focused on this community, to my niche, because I think it's more valuable for us as a studio to find the people we want to help. So I would say it's 50% is like through LinkedIn. We use LinkedIn as a powerful platform to reach out, try to connect to people, engage in conversations. And then we also promote quite a lot of like animations, for example, for awareness days, like related to nature conservation. We tend to create content that are related to this niche. And then people are attracted by our content and then reach us to us. So I would say 50% goes through social media and 50% through networking, either online or in person.
Yeah, I know we've discussed this a lot in our accelerator as well, but it sounds like it's almost like half doing the inbound marketing side of things, like you're saying, like posting stuff out there that's related to what maybe people are looking for, and then also communicating with them on their posts and things like that. And then half almost like this going to events, direct outreach sort of strategy. Would you say that's accurate? And is there anything that I've maybe missed out from there that you would advise people to do if they're looking to connect with their ideal client?
I would say that the main point is to offer value, offering value on without expecting nothing in return. If you offer something to your audience, to your community, on a genuine base, eventually they will notice you, and then they will contact you with like opportunities, even though it might not lead to like a project. It's always a way that, if you connect with people, eventually people will introduce you to other people, and this is how it works basically.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it, is try and offer value as much as you can. So if I'm a designer or animator and I'm starting out, I've identified a niche, what do you think the first step should be to giving value to someone who's in my ideal niche? Yeah,
first of all, I'd like to step backwards a little bit, because finding your niche is something that requires time. It's at the beginning, it's kind of frustrating because like talking about my story, at the beginning I was frustrated because I knew that I wanted to do character animation. I knew I wanted to do explainer videos, but I didn't know how to apply those skills into something that had value. So finding my niche was a path. It was a path, and it takes time. So I would advise not to stress out about this. Just reach out, just look at your passions, look at what you love, look at what you liked as a child. And then once you're there, offering value. Offering value means that, for example, when I realized I wanted to niche down to this specific sector, animal welfare and nature conservation, I started generally to offer my skills on a volunteer basis. And this really helped me in so many levels, because I didn't want something in return. But in the meantime, I received something, which was creating something good for my portfolio, something that had value to me and to not my client, but at that time was the Blue Cross. So it was valuable for them because they were receiving something on a volunteer basis. And I was doing something that fulfilled me as a creative person, that could give me the creative freedom to do something I loved with. And that eventually, over the years, led to something which was actually paid for. So the Blue Cross reached out to me saying that they had a project for me. So I would always advise to work your skills and offer your skills in a way that might help others, because eventually people will notice this act of kindness in a way and altruism, and then it will return to you in a good way.
Yeah, I think it's important as well to point out that when you have a clear idea of the kind of client that you really want to target, I think this is a great thing to do. And obviously, if you can go out there and you can get paid for a project to do the exact thing that you want to do, then you should do that. But it's not always possible. So although I would say, like, I never want people to work for free, I think if it's done in this kind of strategic way where you're like, I have an idea of who I want to work for, and I also just want to help this cause, I think it's really good. And I think it's really smart. And I probably would advise people to do that. But I want to talk a little bit about, should you niche down straight away when you start freelancing?
Yes. And again, I'd like to step back, because when you start your career, I started as like an intern first, and then I moved to full time. And then I would start my career first of all in a studio. I strongly advise that, because that will give you the possibility to learn a lot in terms of animation and technicality of the animation, but also if it will give you the opportunity to go to clients, to have like meetings with clients, learn about your colleagues as a project managers. These are all things that then when you go freelancer or you open up your own studio will come back useful, because it's something that, we as motion designers at the beginning, we just care about, learning new techniques, Cinema 4D, After Effects. But if you want to go and do your business on your own, you need to learn the other aspect of the businesses. And while working in a studio, you learn a lot from your colleagues and your clients as well. So to answer your question, I would say that it really depends where you are, in terms of if you know what you want. For me, it was a path. I needed to find what I wanted. I knew what I wanted after a while. I would say it took me 2 or 3 years to find out what I wanted, because it's something that it doesn't come straight away. You don't wake up one day and say, I love this. I want to do this. I want to make it my everyday job. So it really depends. If you're in a point that you love something that has a reason to you, then why not? You could straight away niche it down.
If you would like to check out our podcast, we will leave the link below this video in the description. We have over 100 episodes with industry experts. So I'd love to see you over there as well. And I'll see you next week here for more tips and advice around the business side of design and animation.